We're here with Don Terras, and he is a Sherlock Holmes aficionado expert. He is a master of the Hounds of the Baskerville organization here in Chicago. So take us back to 1887. That's the year that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle came out with his first story about Sherlock Holmes. That must have been a sensation to readers.
It took Doyle a long time to get his writing act together, so to speak. But when he did, it really began to flourish with the Sherlock Holmes character. People of that time period really took to Sherlock Holmes. A Study in Scarlet, which was his first publication, just steamrolled into others, and it was a time, I think, when people saw in the mysteries a way to understand all of the massive social and technological changes that were going on at that time. Doyle wrote Sherlock Holmes for some 30 years, from 1887 to 1927, and there was so much happening during that time period, from the Victorian time period into the 20th century, and I think that people really appreciated the Sherlock Holmes stories as a way to understand what was going on then.
So even though these were made-up tales, novels, he still went to great lengths to get what was going on in the culture at that time in the 1880s into his stories, so that people would have a better understanding of that.
Very much so. You know, again, as an anthropologist, I read the Sherlock Holmes stories, and they come across as social documents to me of a certain time and place, very valuable in some respects, and certainly give you insight into the people of that time period.
Now, he started off in the 1880s, and he wrote all the way up through the 1927, you said, about Sherlock Holmes. So as the years went by, was he adapting his character to the times, or did he keep Sherlock Holmes mainly back in the 1800s, 1880s, 1890s?
There's a poem that Vincent Sterrett wrote about that. It is always 1895. Controversy today is in trying to bring Sherlock's, like Benedict Cumberbatch's show. It isn't always 1895, and I think Doyle was reluctant in some ways to take Sherlock Holmes into the new century. I think he did, but it didn't go in a wave. It came in very, very subtly into the century.
He was also a man of science, and he knows that science always progresses forward.
Definitely, yes. Yep.
We are here with Don Terras. He is a master of the Hounds, the Hounds of Baskerville. How do you become a master of the Hounds? You don't, I mean, you're a member of the organization, the club, but how do you become master?
Well, it's a very long and torturous process.
Okay, so there's a lot of torture involved.
You get involved with the formal world of Sherlockian organizations. I came into that group by way of Hugo's Companions, another Sherlockian scion here in Chicago. There are many scions here in Chicago. As a matter of fact, there are more here than in any other city in the country. But the scion that I came in on is called Hugo's Companions, again playing off of the characters in the Hound of the Baskerville. So I went up through the ranks there, and eventually was invited to join the Hounds of the Baskerville. And I don't know how many years later it was when the title of Master of the Hounds was passed down to me, as it was to my predecessor, Bob Mangler, from Vincent Sterrett himself, who was founder of the group.
Wow.
So there's a lineage there.
Yeah, there really is. Okay, Don Terras is with us. He's a Sherlock Holmes expert, but he also has this really cool job. He is also the director of the Lighthouse Park District in Evanston, And this is the beautiful Grosse Pointe Lighthouse that he oversees. And so he's written a book about it. And also he's written another book called Lighthouses of Chicago Harbor. And if you're into lighthouses, these are really great books to have. I would imagine quite a few mysteries have occurred in lighthouses around the country, around the world. Did Sherlock Holmes have any lighthouses in any of his books?
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, I'm a member of the Baker Street Irregulars, as I said earlier, the oldest organization in the United States dedicated to Doyle and Sherlock Holmes writings. And my investiture is The Politician, the Lighthouse, and the Trained Cormorant. It's a non-published story that Watson refers to in the Sherlock Holmes canon.
Wow. Okay, that's
But
going deep.
Yeah, but there are others. Yeah.
All right. Very interesting. Don Terras, thank you very much for being with us on the Mystery Marathon in fall of 2015. It's really been great and interesting talking to you.
My pleasure.